Right, here we go. It's time for the final starting 11 prediction of the season for Saturday's William Hill Scottish Cup final against Hearts at Hampden Park. It's the final game of the season, of course. It's absolutely flown by, and what a season it's been. One last game to wrap up another treble. Before we get started on the team today, some housekeeping first for the channel. We're still astounded, we're absolutely blown away by the number of people who watch every week but haven't subscribed. So if you are watching and you happen to not have subscribed yet, can you please subscribe below? It really helps us out. That'd be amazing. And one last thing before we get started with the team is the new t-shirt. It just arrived today. It's courtesy of Aidan Cregan. Some of you might follow him on Twitter. He's got some great designs. This is his latest one. Some Celtic greats in there. Looks absolutely brilliant. We'll link it up in the description below. You can get your own and check out all of his work at aidancreganart.com. Right, time for the team then. In goals, Scott Bain, who had probably his first mistake leading to a goal last week against Hearts. Listen, it happens. I think if we're going to pass it about back there, these things can happen from time to time. It does make people nervous, but at the end of the day, I think since Rodgers came in and introduced that, I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 mistakes leading to goals over the course of 3 seasons. So I'm sure he'll move on for that, and he'll be back in top form this Saturday. On to right back, Mikael Lustig, I expect him to come back in. We've seen Anthony Ralston at the weekend there. Didn't have his greatest game. I don't know how he's going to fit in with the squad going forward. He's still developing, obviously, still pretty young, but he's really struggled whenever he's played this season. And Lustig, after his injury that he picked up at Ibrox, was rested last week. I expect him to come back in for this one final push, possibly Mikael Lustig's last game for Celtic as well, so he'll want to get out on a high. He's served the club absolutely brilliantly. And he'll want to put a good performance in and win the cup before he leaves, if he is going to leave. Centre half pairing, pretty nailed on. Benkovic did come in last weekend, but I expect Neil Lennon to go back to Christopher Ajer alongside Jozo Simunovic, because that's the partnership that served him so well in this little period that he's been in charge. So I expect those two to play at centre half. Left back, the big one, of course, I expect KT to play. Whether he should play and whether he's going to play are probably 2 separate issues. I think if he wasn't going to play, it would have sent him for his operation already. So I think it's pretty nailed on that KT will start at left back, and that's massive for us because it's okay playing players out of position. We've seen Toljan switch over to there last week, who I thought was really poor again. One of the strangest signings I think I've ever seen at Celtic. So he's not really up to it. We don't want to go with Hayes out of position there, because that can leave us exposed as well. And of course, Izagiri's he's pretty past it as well, as we've touched on before. So KT's massive for us in there. And like he said in the press conference the other day, one final push to fight for the cause, to get us over the line, to create history. So he'll be massive for us in there. Midfield, Scott Brown will come back in after being rested against Hearts. Captain the side, as he always does. His influence will be huge in there. Alongside them, the Celtic Player of the Year, Callum McGregor as well. Those 2 first names in the team sheet, I say it every single week. But in front of them, Neil Lennon's got a decision to make, because Tom Rogic has really struggled for form this season as a whole, basically. Never mind just the period since Neil Lennon came in. We've seen Cham last week. I thought he played well in Cham. I don't know if he's done enough to get a place in the cup final team. Obviously, we've seen a great performance from Mikey Johnson last week as well. He might have staked a little claim. We'll come on to that as we move up the park. But I'm going to go with Rogic purely based on his record in these games, his record at Hampden, his record in cup finals. Obviously, we remember that invincible goal to win the Scottish Cup 2 seasons ago, which will live with us forever. So he's got those moments in him. We know he's got those moments in him. So I'm going to go with him. I just don't think and Cham, McGregor and Brown, I think they're all a little bit too similar. Rogic can, when he's on form, be that creative spark that we need in between the lines in that 10 space. So I think it's going to be Rogic. Right hand side, James Forrest picked up the Ladbrokes Premiership Player of the Season this week to add to all the other awards he's won. I think it's almost a clean sweep, bar the Celtic awards for James Forrest. Again, he was one that was rested last weekend. I think he'll be fine for this, and a big player for us. And as I say, he's had a massive season, so it'd be nice if he could play a big role in this final and wrap up the treble, and maybe even get in the score sheet as well, as we've seen him do in so many big games this season. On the left hand side, and as I said, Mikey Johnson I thought was brilliant last week. He played on the right hand side, of course, last week. We've seen Sinclair on the left hand side, but we know Forrest is going to come in on the right, so Johnson might have done enough to stake a claim. I think this is the one position in the team that is really up for grabs, obviously, because we've seen Sinclair, we've seen Hayes a lot under Neil Lennon, but I think Johnson offers us something different. Again, we know that he's still developing. It is a massive game, so I'm going to go with Johnny Hayes purely based on the fact that that's who Neil Lennon has went for in most of the big games that he's been in charge of this season. Johnson, if he's in the squad, could and maybe should play a part at some stage in the game if we need him, or hopefully we've got it wrapped up and we can bring him on anyway. But I thought he was brilliant last week, Mikey Johnson, and so important for him to get his confidence up, as I said in the content last week after the defeat at Ibrox, where he really struggled. For somebody who's so young and still developing, massive for him to follow that up with a great performance last weekend. But I expect it to be Hayes on the left hand side. And up top, as always, Odsonne, Edouard. We've seen Buck start there last weekend, really struggled again. We can file him under the same bracket as Toljan because he's really struggled in his loan spell that he's had. So it's got to be Edouard, because we don't have any other strikers, because we've played 6 or 7 months with only one striker, and I think it will be him. Burke's obviously struggling with injury as well, but there's no chance he's going to start this one. So Edouard up top, and we've seen it in the pre-match stuff this week. One more push, one last game. We find ourselves in the same position that we've been in the past 2 seasons, on the brink of unprecedented history, with one more game to wrap it up at Hampden in the Scottish Cup final. The players are used to these games. They have a great record in them, and I think that if they can bring any good level of performance, determined to push us over the line, then we will get there and we will be fine. We know what to expect for Hearts. We've seen a changed team from them last weekend as well. We expect some big players to come back for them, possibly Haring, Joom as well, and obviously Ikpeazu up front, who is integral to the way they play. They will be direct, they will be physical, but if we can stand up to that challenge, hopefully we can get the job done with a good performance, and then we can all go and enjoy the celebrations on Saturday night. That's it for this week. Like the video, comment your own thoughts below, and as I said at the start of the video, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We will see you at Hampden Park on Saturday. Thank you.